The results are in for the October 2015 NPD sales figures results, and as you probably know by now, but just to reiterate, this is for US retail only, so no digital. Regardless of that, however, it was a pretty damn good month, with American consumers spending about $805.9 million on new game-related software and hardware, and this was up 2% from October last year. Hardware and software were down, but it was accessories that industry saw this small growth of 2%. Now, the accessories does include things like Amiibo, Skylanders, as well as, of course, Rock Band guitars. And accessories were up 18% to $197 million. That's compared to $168.2 million during the same period last year. Now basically this helped boost software up, which was actually down 3% from $349.4 million to $337.7 million, and hardware, which was essentially even year over year. And yet it gets a bit more complex from there. For example, home console sales were actually up 3%, however the 3DS and the Vita dragged down the total. Now of course, do keep one thing in mind. This time last year, we had seen the release of Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS, which of course moved a significant amount of the portable device for Nintendo. And general health of hardware sales look even healthier if you take out the Xbox 360, PS3 and Wii. All of course are still declining with the rise of the next-gen consoles. Now I'm sure most of you are thinking, stop with the blathering, we want to know who won out of the PS4 and the Xbox One this month, and well, it was actually the Xbox One. It was the top selling console. I have a little bit of a statement from the Xbox marketing boss Mike Nichols, who said, quote, "The strength of the greatest games lineup in Xbox history drove record Xbox Live usage for October and made Xbox One the best selling console in the US with 81% growth compared to October 2014. We saw amazing fan excitement, commercial success, and critical acclaim in October for Halo 5 Guardians, which was the best-selling game in the US, and other Xbox One titles launching earlier this fall, including Forza Motorsport 6, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Harmonix's Rock Band 4, and Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Syndicate." Now, unfortunately, Sony didn't actually provide any figures, neither did Microsoft in all fairness, so we know that the Xbox One won, but not by how much, and of course the PS4 is in the lead overall, but it's still a damn good victory indeed. And I have a little bit of a statement here from NPD's Liam Callahan, who said, quote, "Console hardware sales increased by 3% over October 2014. This was due entirely to Xbox One and PS4 generation sales, which rose by 12% to offset the 66% decrease in hardware sales for last generation consoles." Now, I feel it's important to spend a moment talking about software here, as of course Halo 5 Guardians undoubtedly contributed heavily to the success of the Xbox One. It sold an obscene amount in its first month or week or whatever it's been. I honestly lose track of time sometimes. So I have the software rundown, shall we say, the top 10. So we have Halo 5 Guardians at number 1, NBA 2K16 at 2, AC Syndicate at 3, Madden NFL 16 at 4, WWE 2K16 at 5, FIFA 16 at 6, Destiny the Taken King at 7, Yoshi's Woolly World at number 8, Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection for the PS4, and Rock Band 4, which of course are both consoles. Now, as I've already said, Halo 5 was a pretty damn big release. And although it did really, really well, other than Halo, the remaining new releases were relatively unimpressive, so while it was the biggest new release so far, it wasn't enough to turn October into a $1 billion month like September, just by itself, I suppose you could argue. And Liam Callahan touched on this by saying, quote, "New physical video game software sales decreased by 3% from October 2015, with trends mirroring hardware as console game sales were offset by a 42% decline in portable game sales." So basically, all of the growth is happening on the Xbox One and PS4, as I've already said. We've got people moving away from next-gen as more and more games are coming out and making the next-gen consoles worth the rather hefty price tag. And Liam said, quote, "This generation of consoles had a strong month with 62% growth over October 2014, while last generation console sales dropped by 63%. That's higher than the year-to-date decrease in sales of 51%. So, rather interesting figures all around. Of course, overall industry-wise, we didn't see that much of a growth, but when you take into account, as I've already said, the decrease in 3DS and Vita sales, as well as the massive decrease of last generation, the fact that we've actually had a growth at all is pretty impressive. Of course, we are in the run-up to Christmas now, but this was October, and all the games are pretty much coming out now, November. We've got a couple in December, and then of course it's quiet until pretty much February. So November is going to be the really interesting month to find out for NPD, but of course there's going to be a few weeks before we get our hands on that. But still, congratulations to Microsoft for a hard-won victory. It has definitely been a tough battle for them, with the PS4 having been in the lead for a fair amount of time, but it shows that the power of Halo 5 was enough to bring them out on top for this month. It'll be definitely interesting to see who comes out on top for the month of November, given that, of course, the Xbox One does have Rise, both platforms have Fallout 4, and it's just going to be interesting to witness who comes out in the stressful Christmas period. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.